Greetings, I'm Rob Chappers.
I'm the captain.
You might be a bit confused because this video is on the Chapman Guitars channel. Look, see, it's a bit different inside, really.
Well, Rob and I have just finished doing a day's shooting for Andertons, and we thought that we would just do a little bit of something for the Chapman YouTube channel. And so we're just going to talk about
everything.
Stuff, really. Some, what Rob's up to in the world of Chapman.
And what Lee's up to in the world of Andertons.
Well, it's just kind of like a crossover thing and kind of a sort of a rediscovery of something sort of recently. But anyway, what is new in the world of Robert?
Well, I recently, thank you for asking, Lee, that's very nice of you. I recently came back from California.
Right.
Where I was having lots
Land of the free.
The land of the free.
And the hamburger.
And yes, there were a few of those. Actually, the best meal I had is coming up shortly in a blog with myself and Matt Holby. Nice. We went to Beauty and Essex, which is a really, really stunning high-end...
Beauty and Essex?
Yeah, it's a really high-end restaurant where you go to the front door. You'd love it, actually. In fact, I'll take you next time we go to America together. And the entrance is a pawn shop, stuffed bear.
P-A-W-N.
P-A-W-N.
Excellent.
And then, there's a guy, and you go, can I come into the restaurant? And you go, yes. And open the door. And then there's a big restaurant. And I got a friend called Chef Brian Zhao, who is an absolute legend. Mm-hmm. And he used to work there, and he hooked me up.
Right.
So we sat down, and I thought hooking me up meant the free champagne that we had at the table, but actually it was the roast chicken dish, the salad dish, a load of dishes, and we didn't know we ordered food as well. Oh. So then we had loads of food, and then a roast chicken, and then the lamb, and then the... Anyway.
Where does this tie into life at Chapman then?
So...
Yeah, we're digressing.
I went on a trip to have two meetings, one with Guitar Centre to talk about some interesting things that may happen at some point, that may need to be voted upon at some point, that may or may not have already passed, and I couldn't possibly talk about, what it would be, I could come at it from a different angle, but it would be a lightning bolt of inspiration if I could come up with something that would be,
I don't know what you're talking about.
No good. And I also visited my buddy Sterling.
Yes.
Over at Music Man, Only Ball. We hook up with them all the time, primarily just to get fed when we're at San Luis Obispo. And also so I can hire a car on business expense and drive up the 101. Just burning our money, Lee. Just burning our money in America. And I had a really cool meeting, just getting some advice on how to run and build really, really, really expensive guitars. And it was very interesting, and I'm very thankful to Sterling for his time and also for feeding us.
Well, he's a very successful man. He's taken the business that his father obviously built to a certain level and has taken it to a whole new level again. And then, of course, he's got his sons as well who are going to do the same.
And while I was there, one of his sons made a son.
Oh, really?
A son or a daughter? I can't remember. I think it might have been a girl.
A baby.
He made a baby. They're just continually spreading their DNA across the planet, basically.
Like balls do, I suppose.
Yes. We're back up. Today has been a day of balls. If you noticed that, we had a lot of balls in one of the videos we shot earlier on. I was telling Lee about an album that I've just almost finished recording.
Yeah.
And it's been really interesting because I'm doing something very, very different. I'm taking soundscapes of a landscape. So, for example, forest or desert or ice cave, and then I am playing. It's almost like a backing track of relaxing, almost like something you'd have behind a National Geographic program.
It is the CDs that you get in garden centres where you press the sort of the wolf on the mountain, and then it's like and some guitar-y music comes along.
That's almost exactly what I've replicated. No, what I wanted was something that David Attenborough could speak over.
That's
something
great.
that you could almost completely ignore.
Give us a sort of a...
Oh, wait.
Oh, okay.
I have to do more of the spiel because there's a point to this. I wanted it to be something that you could either completely ignore and just have in the background and really enjoy having on, or get really involved in.
Right.
And as a result, I needed to have minimalistic instrumental guitar over these storyboarded landscape concepts. And what I didn't want to do was the widdly diddly shreddly biddly...
Widdly diddly.
Yeah. Because it's been done.
Yes.
And done really well. So I made the decision to turn off the theory switch in my head that no longer goes. It's Lydian, it's flat sharp 4, and then you mix Lydian now, 5th chord C, flat 7, but it's major mode. And I just tried to sing through my hand, and it was really, really hard. Yeah, no, really. And but really successful, and it was a really enjoyable experience. But through the recording process of an absolutely gunned amplifier, mostly using my fingers, and trying to
lots of feedbacky kind of notes.
Yeah, lots of sustained harmonic feedback and saturated gain, but in a melodic way. I realised a couple of things that I really like about one of the guitars that we make already.
Yeah.
And something that I wanted to do in the future on another really self-absorbed signature model at some point. And that is that I love P90s,
yeah,
and I love humbuckers,
yeah,
but we don't have both on a guitar.
So are we getting one, are we?
I would like to do that.
Well, that's great.
I like to do that.
Lots of, I think, Duesenberg do, that's kind of one of the main things about their range. Most of their guitars will have a humbucker at the bridge and a P90 at the neck. It's a great combination.
Yeah.
It's a bit more of a better matched combination than having a straight single coil at the neck and a humbucker
I think
at the
so,
bridge.
because you get more of the output match. The other thing is, when you're doing that harmonic saturated thing, having a semi-hollow, it makes a world of difference. So I kind of want to do a cheeky semi-hollow with a humbucker and a P90. So this is what was originally the GC Special Run ML3 Pro Modern, but now you can buy it everywhere. And I really, really like it, but I am a fan of the P90 in the bridge, like the one I've got at home. Actually, I've got 2 prototypes of each of the ones we made. And it's interesting because you notice that it's an angled headstock on this one. The modern one had an angled headstock. The traditional one had a straight headstock.
Right.
But my prototype P90 loaded traditional one had the angled headstock, and I preferred it.
Right.
So I had the only one. So I thought maybe I'd retain the angled headstock, and that would be kind of a cool thing. Why have you got that?
I did a American magazine asked me to do an interview for them and asked for some photographs to go with it, and so we shot the photographs at Andertons, and we've got a studio, and I just wanted a guitar to pose with, basically, and I thought it'd be appropriate to get a Chapman guitar. So I picked this one up, and it's kind of, like sometimes I suppose to a certain extent you just forget, don't you, that how much you liked something, and then you just haven't played it for ages and you get back into it. So I picked this up, and I thought, I must say to Rob, we don't make enough of the fact that this is a relatively affordable guitar.
It's a great guitar.
And it's just a monster guitar.
Yeah, it is.
And so I started noodling around. And the other thing that more recently we've been talking a lot about is this, trying to break out of just playing.
You're going to talk about major blues now, aren't you?
Well, only because it's what I like about it, and I think what I say like about it, it's the challenge, I think, if you've been playing minor pentatonics a long time, is you go from, if you're playing minor pentatonic, you absolutely know that as long as you're in the right key, it's all going to sound fine. There's no question of kind of like all that's all going to sound fine. So you don't really think about what's the note after this one going to be. You just play, don't you? You're not sort of in your head. You're not going, I think I want to go up, 2 semitones or whatever. And when you start doing the major, and I'm just going to have to loop this in unless I've saved it, have I? No, I haven't, sorry. So I'm just going to loop in like a chord change that you would play major over. So that's E. So if you want, all those notes work, but I wouldn't play it there. So I would immediately default to playing essentially a blues shape. Now so it's exactly the same shape as you would play, a blues in E minor pentatonic, but I'm playing it 3 frets below. And what it forces you to do, or at least in my opinion, is your notes, you have to now think, so where am I going to go? I want to go up. And you begin to train your brain as to what are the notes that you want to end on. That's a nice one to end. Good one to end on. But they're all different to the places where you'd end in a minor scale. So it's all the same patterns and potentially a lot of the same kind of licks, but just consciously going end somewhere differently. And then in some stuff I've been doing with Justin Sanderco, again, we're doing other stuff where we're playing over just a straightforward 1-4-5 blues progression, but following the chord with the major.
Yeah.
And then and then of course going, and when can you put the minor, so actually when you realise that that blues lick, that is essentially following the major scale, because you're going. That's just, and then you go to the A. That's all you're doing. You're essentially following the major scale over the chord. So kind of you sort of think, okay, well, I've actually been doing it all my life without really realising. And all you're doing is you're extending those licks and scales and finding different places to play on. But you're essentially just playing the major over, following the chords. And it's just a really interesting journey to sort of, particularly I think, just because there's a familiarity with the licks in that I go, well, that is a blues pattern. So I haven't got to relearn everything.
But some of the notes are bad now.
Some of the notes are bad or less good or less appropriate in different places. And because you have to slow yourself down and think, well, hang on, is the note that my muscle memory wants to go to going to be a good one or a bad one?
Yeah.
There's that little bit of like, hang on, think about this. And I like the fact that it's forced me to just slow down a bit.
And I'm on a similar journey. But my journey is more of a, because you can play major or minor.
Yes.
When to and when not to. So if you put it on, and I'm also trying to play less.
It's right at the end that you can throw, if you want to throw in the, you can go back to minor. But it's right at the end. And again, it's all about the note that you end on, because you can play that minor thing, but you can't necessarily end on any of the notes. Certainly not the same notes that you'd end on if you were just playing, minor blues. So I thought that was cool. And anyway, so I ended up playing this guitar and thinking, you know what, this is half the price of like an American Fender T-style.
And it has the same sound. I recorded the majority of the album that you recorded bits with me, Clockwork Wolf and Company, using that guitar, because it has a really, really nice...
it's super crazy light,
and
nice
it's got
neck.
the super crazy feel.
It's really... anyway, it's a bit of a... It was one of those like, I didn't realise I'd forgotten we made a guitar like this.
You'd forgotten how good we were.
Well, kind of, because you go off different journeys and stuff, don't you? But I like this. I shall play this more.
guitar.
It's a good guitar,
It
isn't
gives back a lot when you're
it? It
playing
does.
it.
It matches your T-shirt as well.
Because
and
it's
your
a
slightly greying
different
hair.
shade and my greying skin.
Not so much your greying.
Well, you know, maybe 2020 or 2021, we should do a Captain version of that or something.
Yeah, I need to. As I said,
Cap
there's
11.
so many cool guitars. What pedals have you been using today, Rob? Let's just do that
I've
quickly.
used an Angry Charlie, which is like this. That one.
Great.
Black Box Overdrive, which is a bit more fuzzy. If I go between the Black Box and the Charlie, you'll hear the... That was a funny gag.
Yeah.
They both sound really good. And then I'm using this Fender Traverb, which I don't mind.
Oh, I loved that.
But,
Put the tremolo and loads of reverb on.
I mean,
It's where it's
it's
at.
not the pedal I wanted. The pedal I wanted, you don't sell.
What was the pedal you
Neither the Toman, neither
was
the
it you
GC. I wanted the Volante. I need one.
It's just crazy popular.
I saw the beer demo and I was like, well, I need to get one of those
yeah, it's
pedals.
very, very cool.
I really like you asked for.
Yeah.
That one.
No, I want the Volante.
Yes, but you asked for that last time. That's why I asked Fender for one.
Shall I tell you where the bulk of my tones have been coming
Do
from
it,
today? Right, the excessive reverb. That is that's amp reverb here, plus Mr. Black Supermoon. My delay has been coming from the GFI Clockwork, which is like... I can tap tempo in different speeds. And I've got it set to a slightly sort of vintagey kind of delay.
Which
and
of those many gain pedals are you using?
the two predominant, normally I use a mix of the Dane and the Very Thing. So the Dane is the sort of the, I don't know, not too gainy. Very Thing, similar but a little bit brighter. But they stack really well, so I'll often use the Dane and then... And I think distortion pedals are great because you can find these kind of lucky pairings every so often, like two go really well together. And then I've used the Plimsoll quite a lot. Which video did I use?
You've used that ever since I've known you.
I know. When I put this board together, I tried to.
Did you try to avoid the Plimsoll?
Yeah, I went through like 50 different gain pedals going, I've had this Plimsoll pedal, it's like, you know, half the fun of pedals is to change them all the time. And then I just ended up going, it's the one. For like a gun sound. And about the two pedals that haven't had much action today are the Vibe and the Mjolnir The Mjolnir I just need for when I need to be louder, and I haven't needed to be louder today because we're loud enough as it is. But the Mjolnir, you just basically punch in over something else. So that's me board.
Well,
and a ditto pedal.
if we were to ever do like any kind of crazy live thing, you know, you, me, Pete, beer, or whatever,
Should do.
if we were ever to do that,
Yeah.
that's the ultimate board for you to use.
It is. If we were to do a live thing, would have to be in England somewhere, probably in the southeast, maybe Guildford, maybe London. How many of you would come and see that if it was on, like, you know, a Friday night or something like that, and there was just, I don't know, we just did a live Chappers and The Captain with special guest appearances from, you know, Danes and Lebanese people.
Would I be fed?
Absolutely. Yes. That's it then. It's the end.
Bye!
Bye-bye.